Awesome. So now we have Perry coming up to introduce our next.
You were near. I gave you a little shout out about the
Thanks,
little
guys.
gift thing.
How's everybody doing?
Oh, you were doing that.
Staying alive,
What are
right?
you speaking of?
Everybody liven up a little bit. The day's starting. You guys pretty smart. It's a devilishly good-looking fellow too.
Oh, which one? Which one?
All right. So we got a really cool speaker up next. I just met Jennifer Hootie yesterday. I love copywriters. Being a copywriter and a storyteller, I absolutely love copywriters. The thing that really struck me about, I got her bio today, and I'm going to read a little bit from it because it's pretty interesting. So she has a company called Conscious Copy. She's a copywriter, obviously.
Oh, cool, man. Awesome.
And is going to be teaching you today about how to attract your ideal client and convert them, not just any old client. But the thing that I find the most interesting about her is that she's a copywriter for copywriters that I really respect, which means she must be pretty damn good, because to be a copywriter for a copywriter is a real pain in the ass. So she writes for, she's written for Joe Polish, Eben Pagan, Dean Graziosi, a lot of the guys in the space. Cameron Harold is here, Sally Hogshead, Brendan. So if you're writing copy for these guys who are very accomplished copywriters, you got to be really good at what you do. She started her first business she accomplished her first $1 million plus business at 19 years old. So I think she's going to have a lot of good stuff to talk to you about. Can we welcome Jennifer Hootie? Come on up. Give her a hand. The WarRoom awkward clap. Come on. All right. Take it away.
I guess this is my song.
This is you.
There we go. Well, all right. How's everyone doing today? Good? Slightly hungover on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 to extremely hungover? 5, 6? Okay, so today I'm going to go into the client conversion campaign. Before we dive into that, I got a question for you. Who here has ever had a bad first date? Raise your hand. Okay, I see like 10 of you, and I feel like some of you are lying that you didn't, but I'll never forget my last bad first date. We met on the Bumble app, very romantic, and we chatted for a bit, and then we decided that we were gonna go on a day date a couple days after we had connected. And leading up to the date, we weren't really talking a whole lot, which I found kind of weird. And it was the day of the date, and I'm walking over, we're gonna meet at an ice cream store, and I figured ice cream is a good best bet because, you can go in and out. If this date is like not the way, then I can, make a quick exit. And so I'm walking up to the date, and I notice a flood of thoughts come into my mind. Like, what if this guy's a serial killer? What if I end up on a milk carton? Even worse, what if he's like one of those guys that rocks those all spandex outfits on Saturdays and goes like cycling with his friends? And so I'm walking up and I'm like, maybe this date isn't a good idea. And I'm like starting to question, like, should I even go, or maybe should I just text him and say, I got busy. But as soon as I'm walking up, I see him sitting at the table, and he looks friendly, and he gives me a big wave, and I wave back. I'm like, all right, let's give this a shot. So we grab our ice cream, and within about 5 minutes, we both realize that there's just no chemistry. He finds it extremely uninteresting in the fact that I have an online business. I find it equally uninteresting at the fact that he's training to be a professional pole vaulter, which I just cannot relate to at all. And we both are just trying to figure out, like, how do we end this date? And so it takes about 25 minutes, and finally I was like, hey, I gotta go. And he's like, yeah, me too. And we kind of like, do we fist bump? Do we hug? Like, what do we do? And we got the hell out of there. And I remember walking to my car, and my thought was like, that was the biggest waste of my time, And why am I telling you about my last bad first date? Well, who here in your business you do phone sales? Raise your hand. Okay, about 40% or so. And who here has ever gotten on a sales call and you go through the whole process and you know that it's not a fit within the first couple minutes, and you leave that call and you're like, why did I have that phone call? How did they get my calendar link? Can anyone relate to that at all? How did they get my calendar link? Who here thought it was okay for this person to schedule a call with me? It was like the biggest waste of my time, right? And as business owners, our time is our most valuable asset. And if you have a sales team, the time that your sales team is on sales calls, but not just sales calls, but qualified sales calls, is the most valuable time that they have, okay? And so today I'm gonna go through what is called the client conversion campaign. This is something that we created, and it's a simple automated email campaign that warms up your prospects before the sales call, and also sifts and sorts the leads who are not a good fit. And with those quality leads who are a good fit, they're showing up ready to buy. Does that sound good? We can go through that today? Cool. Love the enthusiasm up in the front. So this client conversion campaign we've done across all different industries in our agency, and we've done it in the real estate space, the roofing space, the personal development space, consulting space, and across the board, it works. On average, the show-up rate for the sales call has increased by 50%, and I'll show you the breakdown of the funnel in a bit. Also, it is to help you get those ideal prospects to show up pre-qualified, pre-motivated, and pre-positioned to do business with you, to make the sale easier. Who would like that? And the biggest one I would say is for you to not waste your time on your sales calls with people who aren't a good fit. So the typical process, you guys have probably saw diagrams like this floating around the internet of how do you acquire a customer? Well, first you attract them, and then you convert them, and then you close them, and then you delight them. Everyone saw something like this in some sort of way, right? But what we're really gonna focus in on today is that point between, I think there's a little, I'm not gonna try to figure this out. The point between the lead raising their hand and saying, yes, I want to book a call, or maybe your sales team reached out and booked the sales call, and the actual sales call itself. That point between them raising their hand and saying, yes, I want to learn more about how to work with you, and the actual sales call is the most valuable piece of real estate in your phone funnel. Yet for some reason, I would say 75% of business owners don't have this funnel set up. So this is your biggest missed opportunity because you're already paying for the leads. They're already showing up to the call. So why don't we make sure that they're showing up pre-positioned and pre-qualified, and that we get more people to not miss the call. Perry did my bio, so I'm not going to bore you with that. I shared the story at TNC. So very romantic. I met the guy that I'm with now, Alex, my boyfriend, at TNC 2 years ago. And when we first met, we connected at a TNC after party. Very romantic. We're the ultimate internet marketing couple. He's in sales and I'm in marketing. Now, when we met, he asked me out on a date. And we weren't able to go on the date the next day. The soonest we could do the date was a couple days after. And instead of what happened on my bad first date, where we didn't text at all and I didn't really screen him, the whole time between the time of me saying yes on the date and the actual date, we were texting and we were getting to know each other. We both realized we geek out on Facebook ads, that we love to travel, that we have the same values, that we love business and we love festivals and all these things. So by the time that we show up to our first date, which this is actually our first date hiking up to the Hollywood sign just around the corner here, both of us had the thought in our head, holy shit, this is my person. And so why are we not doing this on our sales calls in our business? like for real, where you are texting or nurturing, building the relationship with your prospect ahead of time, so by the time they show up to that call, they're enrolled, they're bought in, they're like, how do we get started? Rather than coming in with that flood of thoughts of like, oh gosh, this person's gonna sell me, they're gonna hard sell me, what's it gonna cost? All of these questions coming up, why can't we just answer those up front? So today we're gonna walk through step 1, the foundation, step 2, the structure, and step 3, the copy. Sound good? All right. Step 1, the foundation. As you're building out this funnel, the client conversion campaign, you want to make sure that you answer these questions. So pretty typical questions, but really important. Who is the ideal client that you want to show up to that sales call? And getting really clear of, it's not just the demographics of, oh, there are males in between 40 and 60, but what is the actual need that they're booking the sales call to get help with? So who is the ideal client? Next up is, what are you offering them? On that sales call, what are you gonna be offering them? Because in the emails leading up to the sales call, it's gonna be super important that we're seeding what you're gonna be offering them, so by the time they show up to the sales call, they're ready to go. And then the third question is, what do they need to believe in order to feel ready to buy? What do they need to believe to feel ready to buy? This is super important in setting up the structure for the funnel. Step 2 is the structure. So this is what a typical sales or a phone sales funnel looks like. You have your lead gen. From there, you have an application page. From that application page, there's a schedule call link, and then there's the sales call. And then that sales call either results in a sale or no sale, okay? And here are the average numbers across the board. Say, for example, you have a $10,000 service. Some of you may have a lot more than that you're selling over the phone, but let's just use that as an example, okay? So imagine you have 10 calls that get booked. On average, about 50% of those people are gonna show up. So about 5 people are gonna show up to that sales call. And then on average, 20% of those people are gonna buy. So 20% of those 5 people are gonna buy. That means 1 sale. So you make $10,000 from those 10 people who booked a call. Making sense so far? Are these, for the most part, some of your numbers of 50% show up? Raise your hand if, on average, you're getting about a 50% show up rate to your sales calls. Yeah. Okay, and then I want to show you the client conversion campaign. So same thing, there's lead gen, there's the application page, there's the schedule call link, and then here's the thing. Between them booking the call and the sales call, we drip out a series of emails. And then if they don't show up to the call, they're automatically getting a missed call sequence, getting them to book the call again. And then there's the sales call, which results in a sale or no sale. Here are the numbers that we're seeing across the board in the different industries that we've done this funnel for. So say, for example, again, a $10,000 service. There's those 10 sales calls. We've seen a 50% increase in the show-up rates for the calls. So now 75% of the people are showing up to the call, which means 7 people are now showing up on those sales calls. And then because they're being pre-positioned, pre-motivated, pre-qualified through the drip emails, the closing ratio increases by about 47%. So in this example, 30% close rate. So 2 are buying instead of 1. So you're ultimately having the same process, dripping out a couple emails before the sales call, and you're doubling your sales. Can you see how big this is? And if you have a higher closing ratio, then you can just times that by the 47% and see how you may even be tripling your sales. So I'm going to break it down for you and actually show you the copy to write in the emails as well, because that's a critical piece. So the first step is the application page. Goal, sift and sort the leads, really getting information on the prospect to ask them where they're at, and framing the sales call. Something that we started doing as well to remove unqualified leads from this is in the application, if they drop down, we'll ask them, in our industry, it's for revenue. So if they have a specific revenue that is in the revenue mark that we help our clients with, then they will go to the next stage in the funnel. If they don't, then we'll send them an email saying, hey, you're probably not a good fit for our agency, but here's some different ways that we can work with you. Here's some different courses we have, some videos. So automatically, we're not getting sales calls booked with unqualified leads. The next step is getting them to book a call. So you just have some sort of booking calendar, Calendly, Acuity, whatever you use here. But again, this is where most business owners stop and are missing out on the biggest missed opportunity when it comes to your sales conversations. So these emails, we're going to prime them through emails so they show up pre-qualified, pre-motivated. By the way, I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the presentation. If you want my slide deck, so you're not trying to like scribble as quick as possible, you can email me. It's jennifer@consciouscopy.co. I'll put it on at the end as well. So you can just email me and I'll send you over the slide deck. Cool? So email 1. This is going out as soon as the person books the sales call, okay? So you're sending them what to expect, and this is right after booking. So the subject line is re-demo call, what to expect. You want to make sure that your subject lines here are neutral. You are not treating your subject lines for these emails as a headline. Because now they've raised their hand, they say that they're interested in booking a sales call with you, so you're just treating them like you would like a manual email, not like the 5 simple, surprising things that you're gonna learn on our call in a couple days. So in this email, you wanna make sure, number 1, that they know that, hey, their call is booked. 2, what to expect, so you're starting to prepare and seed the call. 3, provide case studies or testimonials, and this is where you can send them to a link where they can go and start to watch the case studies or testimonials of your past clients, and you sign off. And then in the PS section, you put content to consume. So as much of your content as they can consume before the sales call, the better, because again, that's just priming them and getting them excited for that call. Making sense so far? Okay. The CTA is the call to action. So the call to action, in each email, we're sending them to a link. So this is where you could send them to a link where all of your case studies are living on a web page. Good question. Email 2 is objections and frequently asked questions. So this is sent the day after booking. Subject line, read this before our call, whatever their first name is. So again, it's a neutral subject line. And then number 1, you're rolling out different frequently asked questions that you get on these calls that you can honestly answer up front. So you may have the question that comes up a lot, like, how do you work? What do you do? What don't you do? For example, in this email, I share, hey, we don't write website copy. We don't do blog posts, so that if the person booked the call and they're looking for that, they know that's not something that we do. Another question that can be answered up front before the sales call, so that the sales call is used for actually getting to the sale, is what is your process? You can provide them, hey, here's our proprietary process that we use. Another frequently asked question is examples of work that you've done. Pricing and how much time it'll require. With these 2, I put asterisks next to them because depending on your industry, you may put pricing, you may not put pricing. And then also how much time it will require. If you are doing services and it really depends on the scope of the project, you may not include that in there. But every business has about 6 core objections and frequently asked questions. So these are where you put those in before the call. And then you sign off. And again, in the PS section, you're sending them to the call to action of either different case studies, proof of work, or some sort of guide, again, educational material that will help them in making their buying decision. Email 3 is rapport building. This is often overlooked, but this is super important because, again, you're a human talking with another human. They want to know that you're human. And so in this email, the whole goal is just to build trust, build rapport. Subject line is just link for call, excited to connect. And number 1, again, you want to share it. Since the call is coming up, share the link or share the location for the call. And again, all of these are automated emails, so they're going out and they're being triggered. You don't have to send them manually. Number 2, though, is share a bit about your company culture, your values, your vivid vision, and show that you're human. Oftentimes, we don't think that this matters. It matters so much. We have this email in our sequence, and so often clients are coming to us, and they're coming on the call with me or my sales team, and they're saying, like, I loved your vivid vision. How do I get one of those? I love what you guys are up to. I'm so on board with that. And then number 3 is you want to ask them a question to think about before their call. So now, again, you're seeding, and you're getting them to start thinking about that call before the call actually happens. Oh. Okay. So then there's the sales call that results in the sale or no sale. Now, like we mentioned, on average, 50% of your sales calls won't show up to the call itself. And so the next piece of the client conversion campaign is the missed call sequence. These are emails that automatically go out if the person does not show up to the call. Tomorrow, I'm going and doing a strategy day with a pretty big direct response marketing company, and I'm showing their team how to implement this into their company because 50% of their phone calls aren't showing up to the sales call, but their deals are worth about $500,000. And the deals that they want to be landing, the clients that they want to be landing, are the ones that aren't showing up to the sales call. So they're like, we need this because all of the deals that we want are the ones that aren't showing up to the call. So I did an audit of their funnel, and I was like, yeah, because you're not driving them to want to show up to the sales call. Everything that you're talking about is making it about you and what your company does and how awesome you guys are. We got to focus on them. And I'm going to share some copy tips with how to infuse that in a moment. But again, remember that the person on the sales call with you or your sales team, they got to be the hero. So this whole sequence is how can we get them results in advance? How can we help them by actually helping them? So with the missed call sequence in email number 1, the subject line is missed call, reschedule. Again, neutral subject line, being friendly. You want to address that they missed the call, provide them a link to reschedule, and this is really, really key, is highlight the benefits of the call and of your services and the cost of inaction for them. What is this costing them by them not being on the sales call? And show numbers, show stats. Sign off, and then again in the PS section, a link for them to reschedule. So when I was sharing the quick story about Alex and I and how we met at TNC, the part that I forgot to mention was that he asked me on a date, and the next day I canceled. And luckily, he had his own version of his missed call campaign set up, and he followed up and was like, hey, I still want to take you on that first date. And thank God he did. So oftentimes you think, oh, they didn't want to be on the call or whatever it may be. No, they may have just got busy. They may have just missed it. They may have double scheduled. So make it easy for them to say yes to that call again. And then email number 2, if they don't register after that call, again, reminding them to register, that they're missing out. This subject line, just RE : their first name, is one of our highest converting open rates that we've done in any industry. It just works. It's so simple. Try it. and just see what happens. So again, you want to address that they missed the call, provide the link for them to reschedule, and again, that's the call to action. Provide 1 to 3 case studies of clients that you've helped, sign off, and then again, the link to reschedule, okay? Are you guys finding this helpful so far? Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so in the final section of the client conversion campaign, we're going to go into copy. So I gave you the structure of all of the emails. Now, how do we write copy that connects and converts? So copy tip number 1 is to focus on the benefits. So this is something that I learned from Gary Halbert, a legendary copywriter. Super simple, but something that I take all my clients through is with whatever you're offering, whether it is product or service, step 1, make a list of all of your features, which is what it is that you do. Step 2 is what is the advantage of that feature, what it does. And then step 3 is the benefit. Why does this matter to the client? Okay, and then you weave that in to strong benefit statement. So for example, when I was getting ready for the date with Alex, he mentioned that he had his own successful online business. Feature, what it does. For me, I connected that to, advantage. He has time and money freedom. What are the benefits to me? We can travel all over the world while running our businesses. 2, I don't have to pay for all of his meals like I did my last ex-boyfriend. I'm going through all of these benefits like, this is great. But you want to make it obvious of the benefits for your ideal client. They may be able to connect the dots themselves, but you want to draw it out and say, look at all these benefits of working with us. So this is something that I see a lot is, before our call, we'll see if it's a good fit to work together. That's flat. So an upgrade of a benefit statement for this would look, you're going to walk away from this strategy session knowing exactly where you're leaving money on the table throughout your sales process. Much stronger, yeah? Copy tip number 2 is 5 words to get them to the yes. So in your sales conversations, if you're not doing this already, you want to make sure that you are taking down the most common objections and questions that you're getting on your sales calls. Every company, like I mentioned, has 6 core common objections. And you or your salespeople want to start tracking these and really finding out what are the top objections, and more importantly, how is our prospect communicating what the objections are in their language. Don't switch it to your language of what you see the problem being. This is how they describe the objection, how they describe the problem. And then you want to be starting to answer all of these questions in advance in the email sequence. And the way that you do that in a really smooth way is these 5 words, which is you're probably thinking X, right? You're probably thinking X, right? Examples in the email. You're probably thinking this is going to take like a bajillion hours, right, to set up. Or you're probably thinking that this is just for advanced people, right? And then you answer the objection. And you're not trying to sell them on it, but you're just educating them on why that objection that they have is off. Does this make sense? You guys like this? It's good stuff, huh? Copy tip number 3 is a crystal clear call to action. So your prospects are making like a bajillion decisions every single day. We don't want to make them guess and struggle on what decision they're supposed to make if we could just tell them. They want to be led. We don't want it to make it like a maze. So let them know the next step always. If you want to increase your conversions on those sales calls, you start training them to make a decision in those emails as soon as they connect with you. And I know this is, a lot of us talk about this a lot, or it's common sense, but it's not common practice. So what does not work is, hey, let me know if you have any questions. What works instead in these emails is click reply to this email and send me your number 1 question when it comes to blank. whatever your industry is. So you want to make it simple and digestible for them. What also doesn't work is reach out to chat. Again, it's like, reach out to chat about what? What I ate for breakfast this morning, what I'm going to do this weekend. What works is click here to sign up for whatever the name of your call is. So again, making sure that it's always results-oriented. Whatever your call is, it's not just a sales call or a strategy call. It's whatever the result is that they're going to walk away with that's beneficial to them. Okay? So those are the 3 copy tips. So to recap, we got the foundation. Clarify your ideal client, your offer, and what they need to believe in order to be ready to buy. Number 2 is the structure. So the strategy and structure is just as important as the copy. So those 3 emails dripped out before the sales call, and then those 2 emails if they missed the sales call. And then the copy, number 1, focus on the benefits, always. 2, the 5 words to get them to the yes. You're probably thinking X, right? And 3 is a crystal clear call to action. So I want to leave you with this. Alex Mandossian said a quote a while ago that always really resonated with me, and it's, seeding is the lubricant of selling. And so I want to leave you with that, because in your sales conversations, how are you seeding before that sales call ever happens? If you do that, you are going to increase the amount of sales that you close over those calls. So that's all I got for you. If you want the slide deck, just email me, jennifer@consciouscopy.co. Just put in the subject line, War Room Slide Deck. Sound good? All right, thanks, guys. Yeah. All right. That was awesome.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you, guys. How's everybody feeling? All right, cool. Well, our next guest